Hi, I'm Brian. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about a process that runs on our servers to keep your backups healthy. It clears out the junk and makes sure that the data that's left is usable. We call this process archive maintenance. Let's take a little closer look. In CrashPlan, your archive in our cloud is where all of the data you have backed up is stored. Archive maintenance is a multi-part process that looks through the data that has been backed up into the archive and ensures that what exists there belongs and is healthy. It runs automatically on the CrashPlan storage servers and performs a few different tasks on your backup archives. Let's talk about those different tasks. The first part of the archive maintenance is called pruning. This process clears out the files and file versions that are no longer within the file selection and retention settings. The maintenance worker running on the server goes through the file manifest, identifies the files and versions that are to be pruned out, and marks the blocks that correspond to those files and versions as unused. These unused blocks of data still take up space in the archive until the next process runs. This process is called compacting. The compacting process goes through the archive's block data file and removes the blocks that the pruning marked as unused, allowing it to then shrink the file to only the size needed by the blocks with actual data in them. When this process runs, you may see the size of your archive decrease, sometimes significantly. This is totally normal as part of a healthy archive lifecycle. Speaking of health, the last part of archive maintenance that I want to mention is validation and healing. This process scans the blocks of data that are in the archive and looks for corruption. If corruption is found, the server will tell the client to send that block of data again, so it can be replaced in the archive. This ensures that the data in the archive is healthy and usable in case it needs to be restored. Once these steps have been completed, the server then synchronizes the new archive manifest with the client app to make sure that both the client and the server know what data exists in the archive and where it can be found. This maintenance process runs automatically on the storage server, and the servers are set to run an archive through maintenance anytime it has not had one in the last 60 days. If you make changes to your file selection or version settings, and are wanting to get that data removed quickly, you can manually trigger archive maintenance. From the device detail window for your device, you would click the wrench icon and then click Maintain Archive. This will trigger archive maintenance to occur immediately. One thing to note, however, is that when you manually trigger the maintenance process, backup and restore will be unavailable until it completes. You cannot interrupt the user-initiated archive maintenance. Once it completes, backup will resume automatically, and your archive will now have only the data that currently falls under your selection and retention settings. That's archive maintenance. It's not something that you interact with all that often, but it can be helpful to understand how your archives are taken care of. If you have further questions about this, or you are running into any technical issues, please reach out. Our support team is standing by, and we're always happy to help.